Right now, we're on our way to meet up with Joe. Joe's a 26-year-old multi-millionaire, and you may ask yourself, what does he do for work? How did he become so successful? Well, you're about to find out.
We live in a day and age right now where there's never been more opportunity to make money. If you don't take a risk ever in your life, you're just gonna end up working with someone that has.
Joe,
What's up,
dude,
right,
thanks for taking the time today, man. Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you, man. So everyone wants to know, man, who is Joe and what does he do for work?
For any of you guys that don't know me, my name is Joe Murphy, the better half of Supercar Connection. Shout out my boy Gavin. So mainly I'm in the collision insurance space, real estate, the financials, and then we're actually going to launch a consulting firm pretty soon here too. So those are the main industries.
Wow. Okay. So full-fledged entrepreneur here.
Full-fledged entrepreneur.
Awesome. And
for the term entrepreneur, that people use the term entrepreneur and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you're only 26 years old.
26. Recently turned 26 in April.
Damn, man,
Crazy.
You're killing it. Wow,
I feel
amazing.
old. I feel old though. So don't. I feel aged and old.
Okay. Well, you're younger than me, so if that makes you feel better. So what do we have here today, man? This is your Corvette.
So this is some of the whips. So right here you got the 2023 Corvette Z06, basically the modern Ferrari 458.
How much does this Corvette go for?
So right now, this is actually funny. These price points are crazy and stuff like that. So MSRP on this car is probably right around 155, 160. Wow. But I think at the time they were going for like 180, 185, just adjusted dealer markup.
Wow. Crazy. So you picked this up, this is like 170,000.
Yeah, right around there. Crazy.
Wow,
and
crazy.
Dealer markup, which is insanity.
And what's the 0 to 60 time on a Corvette like this?
This one specifically, they've done a crazy job with engineering of this car. This one does 2.9 0 to 60.
2.9 0 to 60 in a Corvette. Holy.
No electric motors, none of that.
Unbelievable, man. Damn. Okay.
Insane. Rear wheel drive too.
What else do you have for us, Joe?
So this is actually the ugly stepchild. A lot of people don't know that. This barely sees the light of day. My most recent acquisition is the McLaren 720S. This thing is my favorite car I've ever had, ever driven, everything.
So how much does this McLaren cost, this model?
So this 720S, this is a 2020. Back in the day when it was brand new, it probably cost right around anywhere between like 340, 350 MSRP. Wow. This is, in my opinion, there's only two cars under $1 million that are unique to itself in terms of just handling, speed, imagery, everything. And that's the 720S and then the 765 LT.
Dude, this is crazy, man. I mean, you're 26 years old. Like, how did you amass this car collection, man? This is crazy.
A lot of hard work, a lot of grind, a lot of self-development, the whole nine. But mainly, I would say just through the couple avenues of business I've been able to create for myself.
God, that's crazy. So you're gonna take us to your shop today, right?
Of course. You wanna go right now?
Let's check it out, man.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Dude, I'm excited.
Pleasure,
I'm excited
brother.
today, man. This is an exciting day. So we're here at your shop. Can you tell everybody watching like what you do here? How do you make your money, man?
The infamous question, exactly what we do. So I'm owner of ICS Auto Body, as you see here, the largest collision center in all of Hollywood. So we're a full-blown collision center. We primarily do claims collision work. I don't dabble too deep into the custom game, which even though I know it's pretty popular nowadays, everybody wants to do wide bodies and work on Ferraris and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, this place is not the ideal place to shoot something like this. It's kind of funny because as you guys will see, look around. It's a little dirty, it's got dust, it's got material.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things for me in this specific industry, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that, you see a lot of automotive centers. Now granted, you have custom places, stuff like that, presentability to retail clients, you need that, right?
Yes.
But when you go to a collision facility specifically, and you see everything's spotless clean, every car is perfect, no dust, that's a red flag, let me tell you that. Because they have too much time on their hands to be cleaning and doing other things versus pumping out work. The name of the game in the collision space is pumping out work. We're about a 120 car facility. We do about 50 cars a month. People who know
50 cars a month.
50 cars a month. All claims, everything's claims. So people who know that type of numbers, it's no joke. A lot of places probably can do similar numbers, but it all depends on their facility size and the way that they run their stuff. I would imagine most places are doing somewhere in the middle 20, 30. It just depends.
So you're doing like double the amount of the average shop.
Now, granted, it's very hard to gauge those numbers because when you have claims, you have such a wide variety of claims. Some claim repairs take a month, month and a half. Sometimes there's parts availability that is right now one of the biggest challenges for our industry is parts. Some places, some German automotive makers have no parts available. Some of the Japanese places even our Japanese automotive makers have some problems too, so that could delay jobs. Sometimes you get a little bumper job and the car's in and out in a day, 2 days max. Yeah. So it's hard. But the biggest thing is doing things consistently. Even if you have a mass variety of jobs coming in, being able to pump 50, 55, 60 out every month, that's the key.
So what's like a typical situation that you deal with in your line of work, Joe?
So like a typical procedure would be, client gets into an accident, right? Something happens. I always tell my clients, whenever you get into an accident, the immediate thing that happens is you get an emotional rush. No matter how it happens, you're like, I just got in an accident. No matter if it's not your fault, not your fault, everybody gets pissed off because now they think about the fact that there's gonna be all times of mess they have to deal with.
Yeah.
My clients, no. Hassle-free. I take care of everything, I worry about everything. First thing they do is they call me, I arrange pickup, I arrange delivery, whatever we need to do, I make from that situation on, I perfectly curate everything. This is gonna get a whole new bumper, whole new headlight, whole new fender. The inner structure might need some damage. It's gonna go on the frame machine, get pulled a little bit. Suspensions actually was already taken care of on this thing, but this wheel was bowed in, so we had to do some suspension work there.
Yeah.
Get a new mirror assembly. This is pretty standard, I would say. Honestly, a job like this is on the more common side. You get your fender benders, you get your cars that get totaled out, you get your cars that have some pretty extreme damage, but I would say that run of the mill, this is something that would normally happen. But all this is gonna get brand new parts, a brand new Tiguan, so everything's gotta be brand new from the dealer.
So Joe, what are we doing here? Like, talk about this.
Right now, we're in the paint booth right now. This
Yeah.
is where everything gets sprayed. So this booth has been here since 1989. So it's an older booth, but again, it's difficult to get permits, so we gotta do what we gotta do.
So what's the typical like job average in your job?
So this is a good question for many reasons. Because I feel like a lot of people, and this actually goes to the whole automotive industry as a whole, from everything, from collision to custom to sales. I feel like a lot of people correlate dollar figures to the make and model of a car. But I feel like that's not a true depiction of exactly either how much money a place is making or how much money they're generating or exactly what's going on. You have a customization center that might be working on only everything Lambo, Ferrari, McLaren. But that doesn't mean automatically that they're breaking all these high numbers because those cars correlate to high expenses. And then on top of that, if they're doing custom kits, stuff like that, those custom kits have high prices as well.
Yes.
Even though they have wholesale accounts, doesn't automatically mean just because they're working on six-figure cars doesn't mean automatically correlates to, wow, they must be killing it. I would call myself more of a volume-based shop. So I work on more JDMs, but I do Europeans a lot as well.
How did you get into this business, right? Like you're 26 years old.
Good question.
Like, walk us through just briefly like how you got into it.
So everybody who's watching, I imagine so when you're in your 10, 12 years old, no one thinks, I want to have a collision center. I want to have a body shop. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to deal with all this. Yeah. No, but so my old man, my grandfather was my best friend. He was an adjuster in the late 70s to the mid 80s. And then in 1989, he opened this place. We're exactly where we're at now. Actually, in 88, he opened down the street, was there for about 6 months, got so full that he had to get a bigger place, and we had to move here.
Wow, so you doubled this place.
Doubled and a little bit more than that,
wow.
Yeah. And again, we expanded into a little bit other avenues on top of that, but like the main thing was seeing the way that he operated a little bit more, I would say a little more baby boomer style. Yeah. He's gonna like the fact that I say that because my old man is an ex-Marine, baby boomer style. Yeah. So he operates a little bit differently than I do. So coming in here, automating little things, getting more technology involved helped us scale. And then on top of that, getting more clients, getting more business, just growing a little bit without even having a crazy social media presence, which might be the next chapter for us. We'll
amazing. Yeah, fantastic, man. Well, thanks for showing us around your shop, man.
You guys are always welcome.
Dude, amazing, man. Yeah. Thank you.
If you get in an accident, you know who to call.
Joe, thanks for taking the time today again, man.
Pleasure.
Bro, you're killing it. You're living the dream at only 26 years old. It's crazy, man. So
thank you, bro.
What I want to know, and I'm sure what the audience wants to know, is like, what does it take to get to your level? And I mean, like, people are struggling right now, Joe. Like 100%. They're blaming the economy, they're blaming their, family, like the situation. So what would be your advice to people our age that are struggling?
We live in a day and age right now where there's never been more opportunity to make money. You can make money billions of ways. Yeah. Billions with a B, not millions with an M, billions with a B. There's more than one way to skin a cat in anything you do. My advice for somebody, let's say in the mid-20s, that's trying to find exactly what they want to do, I would give them two things. First things first is self-development. I feel like a lot of people underestimate how the type of person you need to become to be successful. You have to become that person a lot sooner than you actually become successful. You got to look inward. You have to develop yourself with a certain amount of skill set and value. Are you someone that's valuable to others? Can you offer value in a marketplace?
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. And that takes a lot of development. Reading, Go meet people, go network, go to these events. A lot of people, like, they have seminars. A lot of people talk bad about certain those things. When you know nothing and you're just getting started, enter and be around people that know a little bit more than you. It's kind of like, there's one quote that it says, like, if you don't know exactly where to start, how to make money, find yourself around the money. The closer you are to the money, you'll learn certain things and you'll figure out, okay, this is one way I can do things. This is another way I can do things. You might even spawn an idea that you can jump on.
Yes, yes.
Secondly is, I think a lot of people talk about passion today's age, and I'm not a big passion guy.
Yeah.
When I was 12 years old, it's not like I was like, I want to grow up to have a body shop. You know what I mean? That wasn't my dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's the cards that I was dealt. And I feel like a lot of people always try to change the situation, and they're like, oh man, like my situation's so crappy. It's the reality of life. Those are the cards you were dealt. You can't change it. So how do you make the best out of the situation and change your own reality? That's the key. Everybody holds the power to change their own reality. You might have to do certain things that you're not either normally, society might tell you those aren't the right things to do. You might have to change your environment. You might have to change people you hang around with. You might have to let people go. You got to make tough decisions. But at the end of the day, what benefits you? And if you're good at something and you're making money in a certain realm, don't be afraid to pursue that and use that to funnel into things that you're passionate about. We live in an instant gratification era where people want to do something for a day or a week, and then they want to see curated results automatically. And then plus you have people on social media that portray certain things and they're like, wow, this kid is 19 years old and he's doing all this stuff. And like, he might be doing it. 90% of the same people that seem like that aren't doing it. Kudos to the 10%, kudos to the 5%.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's a lot easier to portray something than it is to be solid what you do. So people see that and they go, well, man, I've been at my business for 3 months and I haven't made enough money to be like that. It takes, first off, the average business only sticks around for 3 years. The average business isn't profitable for about 2 or 3 years, just depending on what you're doing.
So true.
So if you're not willing to stick to something in my opinion, you have to stick to something for at least 5 years to see if it really is going to pan out. If you're not willing to dedicate yourself to that much time frame, there's no point, because you're not. You could do things that could get you rich, and not saying that that's impossible, because I have friends that have hit something and super fast have scaled it. It's possible, but the majority of situations are not.
Why is it so important to hang around successful entrepreneurs like yourself?
The first thing that goes into it is you start hanging around people that are either doing better than you or the same level. You realize you have a certain correlation to the way that you think. And then beneficiary to that, if you hang out with people that are doing 10x better than you, or even just a little bit better than you automatically start to think how that person thinks, the way that their brain works. And then you go, okay, if he can put this together and this is how his brain thinks, you automatically start to pick up those tendencies. Plus, the way it works with us is we're pretty competitive in the friend group. So we're always I'm doing this, I'm picking this up. Like my buddy Pac just picked up an SF90. Another buddy of ours named Zaid just picked up an SF90 this week. We had 2 SF90 pickups this week in the group, which is crazy, because then you sit here and people might be watching this and they're like, wow, this kid is 26. He's doing well for himself. He's got things going. For me, and this is crazy to even think about this, because I have done so much work on myself the last 6 years to go from where I was at to now, that like by no means am I unthankful or not gratitude as to be able to be in this position. But I understand the fact that having people above me in terms of making more money, thinking differently, even if we make the same money, the way that they think versus the way that I think can unlock a certain pathway where I can scale my business 10 times more just because I saw a different perspective. So
I love that.
They're taking deliveries of SF90. My buddy John's going to sell his 720 because he wants an F8. Now I'm like, all right, well, what's my next move? I got to figure this out. What do I got to do?
Yeah, what car am I going to buy now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a continued pursuit of wanting better for yourself. You might have to let friends go, and you might have to change your circle up. Even though you have friends you've been friends with for 15 years, if they're not on the obsession path for success, then you have to let them go. You need to be around people that continually push you for better, want better for you, and not only that, you need to be continuing to scale up and look. If you're the big dog in your friend group, you got to change your friend group up.
You're more than just body shop owner, right? Like you own multiple businesses. Like what other businesses do you have?
Obviously, the collision center is the main one. I don't want to take that away from that. That's the main business.
Yeah.
We also have a real estate business. I have 2 real estate businesses currently. I own property myself, rentals and everything between.
Oh, you guys own property yourself?
I own properties myself, 100%. We're doing development on them as we speak as well. Then secondly onto that, we have me and 2 of my partners, we buy out-of-state rentals, specifically Section 8. So I know Section 8 is a huge trend right now. It's getting super popular.
Yeah,
I imagine
very popular on social media.
Everybody on social media is producing it. Yeah. People are making courses on it, the whole 9. We've been in the game for a little more than a year now, and we have specific areas we buy. And literally, it's just two of my good buddies, investing buddies that I met in college. We pan together and we're like, let's build an empire of Section 8 across the country. So we've been slowly buying up properties over the last year and a half to scale.
the reason we even got into that was we were kind of thinking, we're like, okay, we're all LA based, okay? So then you buy a rental property here in LA. Everyone knows that Los Angeles market, the valuations are extreme, right? You have some of the most appreciated high value properties here, right?
Crazy.
So let's talk about just you buy a duplex in South LA, that area, the stigmatism that comes in that area, you're talking 800,000, 750, 900,000.
Yeah.
Okay? You're talking about deploying 20% capital into that, you're in the six figures, right?
Yeah.
You take that same thing, you look at the return, you go, it's not really ideal in today's idea of what people want a return on their investment, right?
Yeah.
So we're thinking about it, we're like, okay, as well as all the laws here in California are very based on the tenant, not the landlord, right?
Yes.
Which is another reason why a lot of people do out-of-state stuff. So we kind of banded together and we're like, all right, instead of deploying, we all had enough to maybe buy 1 or 2 properties at the time that we were okay with putting towards rentals, right? Because a lot of we want to use our active income to make more money and do stuff like that, not something super long-term.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we started looking at our options. We were like, how do we find something that we can leverage the capital we have and then mitigate our risk? And Section 8 fit that perfectly. And not just here in the state of California, we were like, let's go in a little bit more states and some lower cost states. So we started buying up cribs that were just right around the 6-figure mark, putting Section 8 tenants in them, and they rent for some good cash flow. And we split it between all 3 of us. So we're not dumping as much capital into it. We can scale. And then in my opinion, now this is a forecasting thing. I don't want to get too big into the forecasting, but I believe, and again, it's not a trend set. If you look back the last 50, 60 years, it might vary. Interest rates are very high right now.
Yes.
I believe they're going to drop. Again, you have a pending election coming up. You have potential war coming up. No one has any idea what's going to happen. I'm not sitting here trying to say I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think if rates come down, I believe property values, especially in specific high value, high desirable areas, they're going to come up. So the way we were thinking, we're like, if we start buying these up now, we'll get a little bit of equity increase over time. We'll continue to scale, and then we can always refinance, restructure things. But again, we have cash flow immediately while we wait to funnel our money into this, which is what I've been doing recently. Like I said, the first part I've been buying up rentals myself.
What would be like the key steps that you would have taken in your early days to become a millionaire sooner?
I think to a certain degree, and it's hard to say this because you need a certain amount of capital to start with.
Yeah.
But I would have understood investing at a younger age. Even though like I said, my background's in finance.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I didn't understand exactly how to make a return on my investment in terms of different vehicles. I was mainly just going through the motions during school of understanding what they were teaching me from a broader perspective. It took me into my early 20s to really dial in with that. If it was me, I would have done that in my late teens and probably would have invested in some other things. Like my buddies were doing crypto at the time. I would have been like, okay, I would have probably gotten to there. Definitely next, I would have definitely understood the concept of risk. And I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people don't realize. The difference between a lot of successful people and a lot of people who don't end up making it is solely risk. Being able to mitigate your risk and being okay with taking risks. If you don't take a risk ever in your life, you're just going to end up working for someone that has. And I promise you to a T that will be the case scenario 100% of the time. Solely because a true testimony to somebody's success capacity is their capacity to handle and mitigate their risk. Goes back into self-development. You have to be able to withstand the risk and the stress that comes with. The sooner capacity you have, the greater you'll achieve and the more you'll be able to take on more projects and more tasks.
So Joe, how did you make your first million?
Hustle. Whole lot of hustle. The first M was definitely all hustle. A minimal understanding of leveraging capital, a lot of grind, a lot of hard-earned just savings, putting away. And then it got to a point as I scaled up and I started to cross more 6-figure earnings. That's when I was like, okay, let me deploy some capital here, saw some good returns on it, and then I hit the M mark. But the first, I would say maybe like half an M was all just hard work, hustle, putting money away, having the wrong mindset. Then I was like, let's deploy some capital, make some moves, and that's when the blow up.
So you deployed the capital,
That's
and
when it
then
changed.
you saw your money double, essentially.
Yes, 100%.
Got it.
That's
So
when
you
everything
knew the
scaled.
right investment vehicle
100%.
to take control of it.
Financial markets and real estate.
Joe, thanks for taking the time again today, dude.
Pleasure.
Dude, this video was crazy, man. The audience is gonna love it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you got value out of this video, please like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. If you get in an accident, call Joe. He's your guy.